Well, it's that time of the week where we get to talk about brand new VR games out this week, games coming out next week, and of course some of that juicy VR gaming news. But before we dive into that, I want to ask one little favour of you. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, smash that like button, subscribe, and all that good stuff. It really does help, and we are getting so flipping close now to our road to 50k, so I'd massively appreciate that subscribe. New VR games this week. Well, this week's been a quiet one, but an incredible one. But let's start off with the quiet one first, shall we? Dumb Ways to Die Free for All came out this week, and well, I'm going to be honest with you, it was pretty crap. I wasn't expecting a busting amount from this game, but after having jumped into it, I've got to say it really just wasn't really for me. It's just a bunch of like pretty tedious mini games that really just didn't excite me or really even just interest me for a long period of time. So this one for me is a definite pretty much leave it. I wouldn't personally pick this one up. It's pretty bad. But now let's get into the good stuff. Well, Metro Awakening finally released this week to Quest, PC VR and to PSVR 2, and oh my god. Whew, this is some AAA VR gaming right. Oh man, it's just a great game. If you haven't played this yet, I highly recommend you pick it up to start with. Secondly, this is so true to the rest of the Metro universe, which I love about this game because they haven't tried to sort of change it to make it fit with what they're doing. This just really slots right into that universe and it's just flipping perfect. I do want to highlight something though quite quickly off the top is if you are scared of spiders, well, there's a few creepy crawly spiders in this game, but there is an arachnophobia mode that you can turn on which removes all the spiders, which I think is genius of them to put in there because honestly it does really distract people from wanting to play games like this when there's horrific spiders in there. And I get you, I'm also not a massive fan of them. I can put up with it, but I'm not a massive fan. So the fact that they have that in there is a massive win. Now when it comes to this game, it's about 12-ish hours long, and that really depends on how much of a speedrunner sort of player you are. You might even be able to stretch this up to about 14 hours depending on your playstyle. So it really does fulfill that need of like, damn, this game actually follows through on what its promise was. And not only that, it's visually stunning on any platform you play this on. Of course, if you want to go, you know, really stunning, then play this on PC VR or even PSVR 2. But honestly, even on Quest, this still looks pretty dang good. In fact, in some areas, probably beating out Batman in the way that it visually looks. But all in all, this is a 100% recommend from me if you really want something to play this weekend, or you just want something to really get your teeth into that's like a good story, kind of messes with you a little bit, and also has just a little tiny peppering of horror throughout it, then I definitely recommend you pick up Metro over the weekend. VR gaming news. Well, Stranger Things VR is going to be making its way to the PSVR 2. So if you've been waiting for this game and you're like, you don't own a Quest or anything, then well, now is your time to finally jump into this. I do want to give a bit of a caveat before I sort of like sell this game. It is really not the best game I've ever played. It's very artsy in its style, but if you are a really big Stranger Things fan, this does have a fan service about it, and it does tell a tale that simply isn't told within the TV show as you go through this as the villain, Wagner, and I don't know why I had to say it like that, but it just worked. But nonetheless, you go through this as a villain, and your arc is really against Eleven and everything. So it's a very interesting, psychological, and fairly deep game in places. But just know that it's not really the most highly praised game. So yeah, just know that going into it. Maybe watch a review and see whether it's for you or not. Because the thing is with buying something on PSVR 2 is, well, there's no refund policy. So just do your research first and make your own mind up before going into this. Next up, we got some sad news about Alien Rogue Incursion, which I'm gutted and excited all at the same time. Unfortunately, this has been delayed for the Quest 3 and the Quest 3S. This means now it's not going to be coming out until 2025. I think it's looking like early 2025, but it's kind of hard to tell right now. It could even sort of teeter over into sort of March of that year. Now, it is still coming out for the PSVR 2 and Steam, so rejoice if you own one of those two platforms, on December 19th. So it's not all doom and gloom, it's just kind of sad for the Quest community because I feel like this would have been an absolute banger of a game, and it really would have wrapped this year out just before we get to Behemoth and things in a really nice way. But nonetheless, it's still coming, and really, if it needs more time in the oven, then I'm all for it. You know, if it needs it, it needs it. Next up, we have a new title to check out, and this is Battlegrounds. This is a new early access game. It's still fully in development, so just know that going into this, but it is a game set in a medieval world. But within this world, it's a little bit different, as you can grappling hook around. Yeah, you heard me right, you grappling hook around in this game, as well as having like speed dashes and a bunch of other fun movement types. On top of that, you also have some fun gadgets like smoke bombs, explosions, and well, it's multiplayer madness as well. You can get in there and just have an absolute freaking blast with your friends. Although I work for the studio that make this game, this isn't sort of like my baby. I haven't worked on this at all, but it is a really fun time to dive into and honestly just mess around and have a laugh in. The servers for this are currently open from Friday till Sundays every single week, so if you want to get in there for the playtest, download the game and then you join their Discord and you'll be able to activate your game code so that you can jump in there for the playtests. Not only that, but your feedback and opinions right now will actually help shape this game, so if you like the look of it right now, your ideas can actually shape the future of how this game's going to turn out, because like I say, it's in development right now. Coming up next week. Now next week, we've actually got a fairly packed week of pretty decent games. Kicking it all off, we have Starship Troopers Continuum. Now, as we all know, I've spoken about this quite a few times, that I was a little bit nervous about this game off the back of the fact that, well, we had Hitman, which was kind of crap, but the developers reached out and they actually gave myself and a couple of other creators early access to this game to be able to try it for ourselves, and in fact, I made a full video on this yesterday, so if you want to learn a little bit more about Starship Troopers Continuum, dive into that as it has full-on gameplay. Now, I will say, just right off the bat, without having to dive into that video, this is actually turned out to be a really fun game. Now, just a heads up, it is a very arcadey game. It definitely has that sort of wave shootery feel at times, but it's actually pretty damn fun. Me and Bido Benjo jumped in and just had a friggin' laugh the entire time. We destroyed bugs, we got made jump by a few bugs, which was quite fun, and then we fought a giant bug boss, which again was just really fun. So this game, just know that going into it, it's not going to be gritty, it's not going to be like After the Fall or anything, but this is got a really fun element to it, and definitely going in with a couple of friends, you're going to have an absolute friggin' blast. So not all doom and gloom. Turns out it's pretty decent. We have Dig VR finally coming out, and I'm pretty happy about this one because it's a pretty fun simulator game. Now, if you like things like Power Wash Simulator and stuff like that, this might actually be right up your alley. And if you've ever just wanted to drive a digger, well then hey, this is going to be the game for you. Now, this one's got a bunch to it, of course, being all centered around the fact that you're in a digger, but it gives you a lot of different stuff that you can play with that, and a lot of different attachments and stuff that are going to keep you locked in. And genuinely, I've played this myself. It's actually a pretty fun game. So like I say, if you like the simulators, this one could be for you. Next up, we have Exocars, going to be making its way out finally. I'm very excited about that because this is one I've been keeping a close eye on, and honestly, I'm really looking forward to this. I haven't played it yet, but I'm really looking forward to giving it a go. I just want to I'm just really hoping, in fact, that it's just going to be visually stunning and just work well. I mean, racing games are pretty notoriously hard to get right, so fingers crossed they've done their research, fingers crossed they've locked this in, and I really just hope this is going to be a banger of a game. And last but not least, we have Last Stand. I did that unintentionally. This is a brand new mixed reality title, and it's one of the first and, well, only of its kind right now to be a co-location mixed reality game. And the way that this works is that you set up your room and then your friend sets up their room, and then it sort of smashes them together and sort of like puts you opposing each other, where you have to fight each other. Not only that, but you also have to fight sort of like impending doom of zombies trying to get you at the same time. It's kind of like the Drop Dead Cabin sort of esque feeling, but on top of that, you actually get like this sort of competitive shooter vibe to it as well, where you're trying to take each other out, goofing around with each other. You can like close their shutters so that they can't interact with you for a bit. You can duck and hide behind cover. Honestly, pretty damn fun. I've played this myself, and I'll also have a full-on video coming out for this next week, so keep an eye on the channel, as actually this is one I think it's going to take you by surprise. Other than that, guys, that is going to do it for this week. A little bit of a quieter one, also a little bit of a crazy one. I mean, having Metro drop this week was freaking mega, so any other news besides that was always going to seem a little underwhelming. Honestly, we're in a great place right now for virtual reality. It's just like, I feel so overwhelmed with just greatness. We've had Batman, Metro, we've got Behemoth coming out, we've got Alien, freaking, oh my god, we've just got so many good games coming our way. It's kind of, we're a bit spoiled right now, honestly, so just enjoy this moment, because these moments don't always come around when it comes to virtual reality or gaming in general, to be honest with you. So yeah, hype's all round, and I cannot wait to be able to dive into the rest of the games that we still have to come. Other than that, guys, if you enjoyed this, please do smash that like button, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye.